Hey guys, hands-free gaming here, and today we're going to be playing some nuclear option terminal control. And yeah, like I said in the last video, it does play a little bit differently. It is a bit of a longer mission, I've noticed. I'm just using default settings right now, but we'll get into it. So the main thing with terminal control is that the start of the game is very slow comparatively. I have had varying success with it. It has been working well, but with the strategy I uses, but it's not something that's really. I've just noticed that the start especially is just like it kind of drags on for a little bit. You can actually put some S3s on. This will allow us to engage some air targets, and you really want to be able to engage air targets too, because they do fly pretty well like other helicopters and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna go head over here with the chicane. Usually there's a convoy that kind of drives around this road. By the time we get there, and they'll be over there. So that's the main method we're gonna get first, is to make some money, and then from there we're gonna go on to looking at some different options. We're gonna be pretty liberal about how we use the Medusa. The Medusa is gonna be your main asset for this one, just because it can take out ships very easily. And I'll show you guys how to do that. At the start of it, it is a very slow game in terms of getting started, but just like a lot of other missions in the game, it takes a while. Escalation, I think, is actually a lot faster. My previous video I did do an escalation, like full commentary gameplay, but I think I would have done that in about like 50 minutes or so. But I just missed some objectives, and then just kind of missed a bunch of other things. So that one you can get done pretty quickly. This one, it does take a little bit longer. The main reason why it does take so long is simply because you have to capture all of these bases. So you have to capture this base, and then this base, and that does take a while, even if you've eliminated everyone on the map. And that's what we're going to be doing today, is eliminating everyone and trying to capture those bases. Another thing too is the ship support is a very imperative of winning the game. I would say it's probably the most important thing. If you can move these ships to advantage positions, you'll find a lot of luck in how you can control them and that kind of thing. So it looks like we have 2 targets up on the radar. We're gonna go ahead and change our controls real quick, just because I do not have it mapped. And excuse me if you hear me sniffling or anything. I'm having really bad allergies. It is that time of year, but what can you do? So if you're wondering, I just bound it to like one of my mouse. So I have my mouse as like different like keyboards inputs. Some games just don't allow like mouse, like the random mouse ones, so I like to put it into mouse. Anyway, we're coming up on this convoy. We're gonna get pretty close. We're probably gonna die in the chicane, honestly. Anytime I've done this, I've died pretty consistently, but we'll just keep selecting targets as they pop up. I believe it's about 15 targets will pop up here. We're not going to be able to get all of them, unfortunately. It's just kind of the nature of how much munitions we actually carry on this. But we'll get most of them, and then we can finish the rest off with our cannons. So we'll go ahead and fire. It looks like someone's already trying to take out a bunch of them. Picked up an IR. We're just gonna flare that off real quick. We're gonna drop over here. Oh, Almost just hit the IR missile. Looks like we got all of them. And then we're gonna turn around over here. It looks like there's a chicane over the airfield. Looks like he was able to dodge that. That's okay. We'll shoot an optical missile once we get a bit closer. Yep, and there we go. Alright, looks like we got that one down with one of the optical ones. It's an A19, pretty far out. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about that one. And we're gonna take a look. We've been engaging from pretty far away. I don't believe we actually have the range. I think we need to be within 2 kilometers. And so we're trying to just going around killing as many ground units as possible. The MBTs will be pretty hard for us to take care of, unfortunately. Takes our guns a lot. Looks like our targeting computer went out. I kind of expected that.
Tail rotor failure.
Looks like we did just take a direct hit from the IR man. So
Right engine failure.
we'll go ahead and eject. Kind of go from here. Looks like we did everything we can. They'll probably still get the airport, but oh well. You can't do much about that. Okay. So we'll go over here and select the class, Annex class carrier, see if we have enough. Nope. We'll go over here. We'll actually take out some of their base defenses now that they've captured it. We're going to use the AGMs for the most part. And this will be very similar to the other mission that we did with the escalation in PLA. In terms of kind of just fly up, shoot a couple missiles off, hopefully one or two things will land, and go from there. Destroy all these targets if we can. The chicane, I didn't mean to select that, but I mean, might as well give him a missile. Alright, there we go. Oh, almost just crashed. So we're gonna get behind this mountain, or in front of this mountain, so we have a clear line of sight. You don't want to be shooting these missiles, especially optical guided ones, without a very open or clear line of sight to the target. Munitions bunker won't be able to do anything with that. Aircraft shelters. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and shoot these off. Maybe we'll be able to intercept something, but Like right now, we're not really. We're just trying to get enough money to get the Medusa at this point. The Medusa is going to be our main way of making
Raise
enough
gear.
funds in order to fund like our other things. So. Kind of coming in a bit hot, so I decided just to turn around.
VRS.
VRS, vortex ring, just kind of
VRS.
throttle up a little bit more, and there we go. Not a very clean landing, but hey, any landing where you don't crash is a good one. So looks like we have enough for the Medusa now, so we'll go ahead and spawn it out. There's usually 2 short class, or about 2 or 4 short class corvettes will spawn up there, so that's what the main thing we're going to be looking for is. So we'll purchase it. We'll go about 50% fuel. The standard loadout we have is actually really good for what we needed to be doing, so. Go ahead and turn off auto vectoring, put it at 54. You can do like 45, but slowly put up the vectoring now. And then we're gonna put it to full once we hit about 300 kilometers. So there's one of the corvettes. Looks like we're getting pinged by both of them. Honestly, the really great thing about the Medusa, anytime you get pinged by any kind of radar station, it'll show up on, it'll ping them on the data link. So I'm gonna send 2 for each corvette just because I want to ensure that we get them on the first try. The radar jamming is honestly really good. Combined with the ARADs, they will absolutely destroy any kind of target you need, especially ship missiles. Short corvettes are pretty lightly defended in terms of if they're out of their Ram 45s or don't have that functionality to use them, then they are pretty much defenseless. So that's what we're mainly exploiting right now. And the ARADs too go, I believe, Mach 4 at their fastest speed, so it doesn't really take a lot for them to instantly capitulate. So. Looks like that was successful. And it looks like there's 2 more short corvettes down here, so we'll go ahead and ping these guys. Looks like one of them is out of range. Oh well. Not much we can do about that, but. Alright, there we go. So we'll fire on them. It looks like we lost data link track for a second there, but I believe it should still track fine. And eliminating the ships is really the main thing you want to be focused on early in this game. You don't want to have or give them the availability to counterattack, essentially. We're going to kind of fly a little bit more perpendicular to them. We don't want to fly straight to them. They'll have like ships up to, not ships, aircraft up to, like revokers and that kind of thing, and you'll kind of want to stay out of their line of sight for the most part. So for the main thing, just kind of focusing them. It looks like the missiles are tracking well, and it looks like it is going to be 2 kills. I don't think they're going to be able to intercept them. Picked up an active radar. We're just going to go ahead and select it. Oh, we might not escape this one, unfortunately. Yep.
Right engine fire. Left engine fire.
Doesn't look like we escaped that one, unfortunately. We're gonna have to J out or exit. Jing out is a reference if you ever played War Thunder. That's what I'm referring to. So it looks like we have enough money to get the Ifrit. That's what we're gonna do next. I was also debating using the okay, yeah, we're gonna use the FS20. It has a very, very low radar cross section. We'll go about 85% fuel. It is fairly inexpensive too, so that's why we are gonna take that too. We don't need the internal cannon at all. It just will save us a bit of weight. Disarm the radar. Make sure you're always doing that. And like the Medusa, we're just going to slowly get up to speed. So right now, our main mission is to go after this radar. That'll allow us to take out that base entirely. We're mostly just going to be focusing on these radars, the MSVs. Once you delete all of the MSV radars out, they have no options against pile drivers, nukes, and so that'll be an effective tactic. Right now we just gotta kind of get close. We will get pinged by the ship's radar, but when doing this you want to fly super low and super fast essentially. You want to fly low so the ship's radars can't pick you up, and then you want to fly fast. If they fire an IR missile at you, you can actually pretty much outrun it in most cases. So it looks like we're under about that 10 meter mark. We're gonna stay under this as much as possible. So it's usually kind of better in the Ifrit because the Ifrit is faster, but I just wanted to try out the Vortex because I have the lower radar cross section, so I was just kind of curious. But yeah, making sure you're under that 10 meter mark or around that 10 meter mark will be a lot better. This is another kind of like suicide mission type deal. We're probably not gonna make it back to base in this, but we're gonna be exposing a lot of their hangars, and then we can get in that dark reach and hit them with some nukes. So that's the main reason why we're doing this kind of mission. We don't want to when they have this base up, essentially you just get hammered by a bunch of planes like constantly. So on the side, and eliminating them completely from here, especially in the early game, is gonna grant you a lot of success. In the Vortex, you are also able to fly pretty high. Let's say like 10k meters or whatever. You can get to that altitude pretty quickly. And that's also another option to go about this. I find it a little bit less accessible because it's hard to deliver ordnance from that altitude that'll actually hit the intended target, versus just flying super low, super fast. You're coming in, you're minimizing the response time that they have. Like the PAV ADLRs are very good because they have a very low radar cross section. It's the same as the Vortex itself actually, but when you fly high and fast, there's a lot of variabilities and a lot of different defenses like bolt strikes that'll still pick them up, and they'll be able to take them out pretty quickly. But I haven't experimented with that quite yet, so I'll have to see if that ends up being a valuable strat in the future. But for now, we'll just do it this way, flying as low as possible. I kind of like this way better. It feels a lot more natural. You do have to micromanage quite a bit though, comparatively. And you have to make sure you're not flying directly in sight of the ships. Like right now, they are seeing me. And if we get too close, they'll actually be able to fire off some missiles at you. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. But we are flying so fast and our radar cross section is so low that they are going to have a difficult time getting a good solution on us. It looks like we are being target locked right now. We're just gonna fire off some flares. As you can see, we are so far away that they are not going to have a good time in terms of trying to lock us. I accidentally did misclick and press the drop bomb button. Didn't mean to do that, but oh well. It looks like they intercepted the bomb that I accidentally dropped too, so oh well, what can you do? Coming up on the base now, I like to be within about 4 or 5 kilometers. I want them to be able to shoot at me before. I kind of act as like a target for them, and it'll be difficult for them to essentially shoot down our ADLRs in a reasonable amount of time. And when you get close like this too, you resolve things pretty quickly. So I'm gonna pop up, drop all the ADLRs on this one radar site. I'm gonna turn around. Oh, looks like we did just get intercepted. I meant to. Looks like they actually took out their own radar site on accident, from what I see in the enemy somehow. I think it was trying to intercept one, but then it missed and hit the radar site, so that's pretty good. From here, we're gonna go with the Dark Reach. I think is probably the best option now. We'll equip a couple nukes, and the rest will be, I think, SHMs will be good. That way we can saturate the defenses of some of the carriers, and we'll go about 10% fuel for this one, since we don't need a lot, especially with AHMs, and then pile drivers are pretty much instantly. So we'll go ahead and select these. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 4. And that should eliminate most of it. We're actually going to select one of these fuel tanks. Kind of debating on what I want to do. Alright, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 3, and 4. That'll give us a pretty good range. Unfortunate with this airfield, you do kind of, the runway is facing the opposite direction of where you want to go, which is kind of unfortunate, but oh well.
Stall.
Alright, so we've lined up on the hangars. There is a chance that the carrier or the dynamo class especially can intercept these, so we'll just be aware of that. We'll select these two. Maybe, actually, we're gonna select the 4 Corvettes. Doesn't seem like they're showing on data link. We also have very, very low fuel, so we'll just select the dynamo and the carrier. Doesn't even look like that's showing up, so we'll just do the dynamo and maybe we'll get lucky and saturate its defenses enough. I don't think this will saturate it completely, but it's a good start. One really good strategy too is selecting all the PAB 250 LRs and just like unleashing all of them. It'll saturate the defenses quite quickly. The entire carrier group they will intercept all of them, but the issue is then after that they have very little defenses to actually defend themselves against the other carriers. So.
Raise gear.
We'll go ahead and land, and then we'll look at the top option too now. On the top of the map there is another carrier strike group, and I like to go ahead and at least take care of the short Corvettes so they don't become an issue. The Corvettes they can do a lot of damage over time. They are lightly armored and lightly equipped, but the exception is that once they get close to base defenses, they will absolutely take down the entire base, and there's not much you can do about it. So we'll go ahead and take them out early, just so they don't become an issue later in the game. So we're gonna head back into Medusa. We'll spawn, I believe, a good one. Yeah, it looks like we're getting jammed too pretty hard. So spawn on the carrier, just because we can. We're actually gonna counter jam their radars. Looks like they both died, so that's a good thing. We'll select the 2 front Corvettes and send all 6 missiles. We'll send about 4 missiles, I think. That's a good amount. We could put 4 jamming pods on this, but I don't think this is super good strategy. I just find that you lose capacitor way too quickly, and then you don't have any ammo to actually do anything effective or be that effective. Looks like our nukes just landed too. Destroyed most things. We're gonna have to send 2 more nukes over there, unfortunately. It looks like, just so they don't spawn aircraft over there. Okay, there we go. Data link's finally updating, so we'll select these 2. Again, send 2 out. We'll watch it send 3 and jam them. And then we're gonna fly perpendicular again. Not really let them get a good firing solution on us. By perpendicular, I mean we're setting up ourselves for a notch. I'm sure they're going to intercept most of those A routes that I just saw. It looks like the Dynamo is already intercepting most of them. Yep, so it looks like we've already been intercepted most of the missiles. Not much we can do about it. Oh well. We'll go ahead and land at this little air base over here. Trying to get down to speed, so we're set our nozzles about 95, I think is a good one. And go over here. Not very successful at this landing usually, so oh well, if we crash, we crash. The pilot's just gonna be wandering in the ocean for a little bit. I believe in him, he's a strong pilot, so I'm not too worried about it.
Stall.
Oh, looks like we're losing the... there we go. We're still landed. Any successful landing when you don't crash. Definitely was not a crash or anything. And there we go. You can ignore the kill feed that says I crashed, but yeah. So at this point, we do have almost $1 billion. So we'll go over here, select this, and then we're gonna donate to that just to kind of keep up supplies. Looks like they're already gonna, the MSV is already gonna take care of that, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll go ahead and select the carrier again. Looks like some ASUS are coming. I'm curious to see if we'll be able to intercept all of them. It looks like they're headed straight for the carrier too. Which is kind of interesting. Looks like the carrier is intercepting most of them. I'm just gonna keep watching just to make sure it intercepts all of them. Looks like the frigate might take a hit. And it did not. It was very successful, so. Again, we're gonna fly out the Medusa. Another good option is the Alcyon. You can get pretty good success rates with the Alcyon. Our main mission right now is just gonna actually to be intercepting or jamming the carriers, so then they won't be able to stop the nukes, and that'll help us a lot. So we're gonna get up pretty high. Looks like our radar's disarmed now. There we go. Gonna let it charge a bit. Usually in the Medusa and non-stealth aircraft in general, you don't want to climb as high as I'm going to climb, but since we have radar jammers, we can essentially just jam it. So we have a SAR missile coming up to us, but once we get into range, we'll be able to essentially jam the ship, and then the ship, yep, see, the radar just lost track. So I'll go ahead and jam them. I'm not planning on shooting them. I want to see how these nukes do against them. I don't intend or don't think they're going to do that well, but it would be really good if they did end up getting out. And then the next thing we're going to do after this is actually go ahead and take out the other aircraft station, the other base. So yeah, we're gonna fly in a notch, kinda just minimize the chances of them doing anything to us. I believe the only option they have is to use strata lances against these long range nukes, and if we intercept them, or the I believe it's the NL98s, so if we jam them, then they won't be able to use the NL98s to defend themselves. Looks like a couple nukes landed over there. Pretty good. Very good, actually. The other ships might be able to take out a couple of the nukes. I believe the Shark Corvettes actually can, but looks like it's actually missing too because we're jamming. So these ships are probably going to die now. Yep, it looks like they're unfortunately not being able to do. And it looks like we actually did take a couple of them too on our forward operating bases, but so we just got launched at by the Dynamo. We're gonna jam it right there. And essentially I'm not even trying to... I don't think I'm gonna be able to get a kill on these guys, but I just want to hit them with something and then jam them. Immediately go for the jam, just so they don't have many options. I believe it'll get intercepted by those Shark Corvettes, but I'd rather jam the longer range ones so then they can't intercept anything. So see, it looks like they are trying to intercept them. Those won't be successful at all because their radar is jammed, and they won't be able to do anything about it. Yep, looks like the Shark Corvettes are opening up on them. So the Sharks are definitely going to be able to intercept all of them. Their RAM 45 launches are very effective. Yep. So not much we can do about that. We'll go ahead and land at the operating base. We still have one. It doesn't look like we actually have one anymore. I believe that one is going to be the closest one we can, so we'll go land at this one over here. Picked it up with another radar. It doesn't seem like I can switch to my other There we go. But we'll land over here, just with some distance. We'll actually go ahead and jam this Medusa too. And the reason why I'm jamming the Medusa is just at the off chance that the radar missile from the other ones can hit it, then it'll be kind of screwed, so. Right now we're out of range. It does look like the jammer is still being pretty effective just because we have a direct line LOS of it. And yeah, we're gonna throttle all the way down here. Deploy the landing gear. We are gonna have to make another pass, unfortunately, just because I wasn't paying attention and I was focused on jamming the Medusa, but
Stall.
not quite sure what happened there. Oh well, we'll just stay out. Again, we're gonna fund our ground forces campaign. They're gonna be the main ones that actually take action against this base over here. We'll look at these. It doesn't look like these are damaged at all, which is, I guess, good for them, but we'll go ahead and spawn on the annex. We'll take about 2 jamming pods, actually. It's gonna be more effective, I believe. And then we'll just jam off 4 of them, so then they have little options. We'll get up to speed, get up to altitude before we start using our capacitor. Our capacitor is only really good for a little bit. The main thing we're doing is just supporting our ships at this point so they can take out the corvettes for us. We can try to take them out, but I want to take them out before I go ahead and kill the other radar, the MSV radar of the other station. And just in the spirit, we'll shoot these ARADs too, just so they can think about something. Try to speed up the process. As you can see, our capacitor goes down very, very quickly. Luckily, we are in a good range, so we won't have to do it for very long. I believe the 2 ships are about to get destroyed at the front, so... So as you can see, just by jamming their radar, they have very little options. They're going to take a bunch of direct hits. We're taking a lot of fire from, unfortunately, from the Argus class frigate on the other side, so they... Looks like we picked up an IR missile. No worries, we can just flare it off. Look at this revoker is on our tail. We were also getting jammed by what looks like a Medusa, probably.
Right engine fire.
For some reason I thought I cleared that off, even though I was getting the warning, so that's my bad. But alright, so now we're in a position where we can go ahead and take some actions against that base. We'll go ahead and FS-20 again. Buy another one of those. Disarm the radar, of course. Then we're gonna get super low. We're gonna keep our afterburner. We're gonna go full AB. Just because I know this FS-20 is gonna try to chase us, but since he's not going that fast, we'll be able to outrun him easily. By FS-20, I mean the revoker is what I mean. And again, getting low like this is a really good option. You won't get pinged by enemy radars that often. They'll have a hard time resolving you through the ground clutter. And like you saw there, the IR missiles, you're just going so fast that they can't even reach the speed that you're going at that point. I believe they reach about Mach 2 at their fastest stage, but then after their burner runs out, they are pretty much disabled at that point, so. This is a very beautiful aircraft. I believe it is based off of that F-35, which is awesome. Very cool looking, very stealthy. I don't know how realistic the RCS is for this, but I don't think it would be as good as what it says. 0.010 is pretty small. 0.0010 I believe is what it is. Or what the stock card says. But who knows? It probably is pretty small. I know the F-35 in real life is the radar cross section is very, very small too. Alright, so we're in range, so we're just gonna pop up, release all these. Where so it looks like we're out of range of all their air missiles. They're not going to be able to do anything about us. We kind of just went in there and screwed them over. They don't have any more SAM systems that can attack us anymore, so it's like this base is also destroyed, so all we really have to do right now is take out this other fleet. We're going to realign both of these ships so they're in an attacking type of group. And then we'll put the Annex class carrier over there. Go ahead and take out some of these revokers. That might hit it though. Well, it doesn't look like I have a gun. I forgot about that. Well, we'll just stay out here. What we're gonna do though is focus this. We have the nukes, we have the weapons. We'll go ahead and take this out. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to target one of the carrier fleet as well. So we'll go right here. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. That should take out all of that stuff there. The great thing about this airfield is that we can actually just take off from the taxiway. No needing a taxi or anything like that. And we'll be in a direct line of sight of them, so we won't have to do any crazy turns or anything like that. Except when we land, of course. As you can see, this does take a little bit longer. I am trying to work as fast as possible. Sometimes it does just take a while to eliminate all the threats. So once we eliminate this, that'll be the only other airfield really they have, the PALA, to defend. I'm not quite sure what's going on over here, so move these ships a lot closer to the front action. Doesn't seem like we can resolve anything. We'll get to a higher altitude and then drop these. They do like to be dropped from lower altitudes, but try our best. Okay, so these are all I like how separated they are. We'll move this guy over here. We'll move the Argus class figure out there, as well as the Corvette, and then there. We'll move this guy. Actually, will be in a bit closer range, I think. And then we'll move these two over there too. Excuse me, to support them. We'll drop all of our ASHMs to take out these two ones, and then we'll J out again, just in the interest of time. Landing takes a long time in this game, so it is just part of the game, but I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible. Looks like those are good fire solutions, so. And then we'll take out the Alcyon actually. Get rid of the RS N2s, we don't really need them. And my plan is actually probably to use the radar jamming, and we're gonna actually take some nukes and hit the dynamos with these, so. It looks like the nukes are just about to drop, so we'll go ahead and watch it on the mini-map and see. We'll also throw it up here too, so we can get off the ground. Looks like we still missed a couple of aircraft carriers. We'll send a nuke over there too. Or the, not aircraft carriers, the hardened shelters, so we'll send one more nuke over there, just to make them think about it. Turn off our radar, of course. We don't want to be pinging any Medusas out there. Looks like the Alcyon is jamming one of our ships. It's kind of unfortunate, but not much we can do about it. We could go ahead and jam it, actually. We're gonna climb to a super high altitude. I think I'm thinking of like 10K or so. What's the minimum range? Is 20 kilometers for the nuke, so. Luckily we're flying faster, we'll get there in range faster than the nukes will drop, so. We'll jam these ships too, just so we can take those out, or have the carriers take them out. Alright, so looks like that was successful in the jamming. Looks like we just got fired on too by the other ship. We'll go ahead and jam the other two ships now. I believe the nuke should be coming up soon. Yep, there it is up in the sky, the little blue dot. Right where my... Yep, right there. We'll keep jamming. When you jam them like this, there's not much they can do to defend themselves against a nuke. It's going so fast that their really only option at this point would be to move out of the way. And they might be successful in that, but they won't be very successful in the long term. I believe even if they're out of the quote-unquote radius of the nuke that's reported on the minimap, they'll still be affected by it, so. Looks like the pile driver is coming back down now. Currently going about Mach 3 or Mach 1. Looks like we destroyed the other one with our other nuke, so that's good. Without aircraft shelters. And one thing to note too is the Hyperion class is actually, it's armored, but it's not as armored as people think it is. It just has a lot of displacement, so then they can take a bunch of hits, but otherwise it's not going to be able to really sink that well. Or it's not going to be able to take a nuclear blast, essentially, is what I'm saying. I don't know why it's phrased that back in a weird manner, but... And we're really watching that range there, making sure we're inside that 50 kilometers. Does look like the nuke is still on its way, so that's good. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Well, we're going about Mach 2.16, so quite fast. It looks like that nuke is dropping as well, and they're trying to fire on this pile driver, but they're not gonna be successful at all with intercepting it. We're not quite sure if the pile driver will actually hit its intended target, but we're about to find out. Looks like it did. Right on the mark. Looks like the actual Hyperion one is also getting jammed, and doesn't look like it's going to be worthy for a little bit, so just kind of figuring out No, what I'm doing right now is kind of spawning as much targets over here as I can. Looks like we spotted a whole airbase, so that's good. And then we're gonna actually go back and land. I want to pick up some more ordnance. I think is probably the best one. Looks like the ship is completely disabled. There's not much that's gonna happen with that. We have a bunch of units coming up too, so it's kind of just a waiting game at this point. We'll go ahead and jam this Alcyon over here as we pass by it. I mean, we are going so quickly that it'll be pretty much impossible for anything to intercept us. Almost Mach 2 at this point. We're a little bit slower just because we did drop altitude quite a bit. I believe if we were up at higher. Yeah. Like I'm getting off track a little bit. I think this is the airport that we want to land at though. It's like this dynamo is holding on its last bit. So I'm gonna get back in the dark reach and kind of drop a bunch of nukes. I'm gonna get more, at least 4 nukes at least, so I can capture these air bases, kind of destroy them out, and then that'll make things go a lot quicker. Then from there we can just direct our units to go capture the air bases entirely. We'll go 1%. Yep, there we go. There's 0. We'll fold out our wings too. Here's our drag, and then we'll put the landing gear down.
Raise gear.
Looks like we're coming in at a bit of an awkward angle, but no worries. We'll be able to land, I believe, still. It'll be a rough landing. Pretty fast landing too, but... Oh, a little bit of a bounce. There we go. Doesn't look like we have options for nukes. It says that we have some, but I'm not seeing that. Stockpile. It might be at the other base actually, now I think about it. We'll go ahead and go over here and see if we can. Yep, it does look like that, so... We'll go ahead and select these bad boys. Purchase. We'll donate to the war effort again. Just trying to get things moving along quickly now. So we'll select 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Guess we can select the tank just in the middle of nowhere. Alright, 7 targets, not too bad. I really don't like this camo, actually. I don't like how it's kind of like a puke green color to me. And I really kind of think it's a bit unrealistic and I don't like it a lot. But that's just personal preference. Looks like the dynamo is still holding on, just barely. It's fired off all of its ammunition. It's taking direct hits from what appears like guided shells now, so... Looks like it's still fighting on. That's fine. It's gonna die here in a second, so we're just gonna do a 180 turn. We're gonna get the stall warning probably. Looks like we didn't, luckily. And we'll go ahead and send these out. Go back around, turn around and land. Yeah, this destroyer is pretty much cooked at this point. You can see its speed decreasing quite rapidly. Looks like the Annex class carrier is actually the main one that's helping out with that. Go ahead and throttle down to about military, like 1.1. Go ahead and drop the landing gear. Well, we can deselect that, turn off our radar.
Raise gear.
Not that it's gonna matter at this point. Honestly, pretty surprised that the dynamo is still up. I believe it should be sinking in a second here. It has been taking a lot of guided shells. The guided shells aren't super effective against it just because it is heavily armored, but if need be, we'll hop in a Medusa, jam its radar, and then hit it with a couple ARUNDs, and that should take it down pretty quickly. We'll go ahead and see how this dynamo's doing. Looks like it's completely wiped out its radar. Doesn't really have any kind of way of defending itself. All of its guns are down too. Looks like the real one is. So we'll get in the carrier just so we can speed this up and it's not wasting a bunch of its ammunition on this. And we'll choose the ARUND on the outer one. There we go. Donate to the ground forces again. Just kind of get the ball rolling. I'm gonna watch in the cam, kind of just take a look, see where it's at, if it capitulates at all. Just took 4 direct hits from ARUND and doesn't look like anything's happening. We'll get a bit closer and see what's up. Looks like the nukes also fell, successfully wiping out most of these air bases, so... Looks like the front section is completely disconnected, and I think it is listing from what I can tell. Yep. It's listing to the left side. So that's pretty much done at my end point. It does look like I killed a couple of friendlies there, unfortunate, but in the fog of war, sometimes things can happen. Alright, so in terms of capturing these air bases, we're gonna have this Shard Corvette actually beach itself over there, and then we're gonna have this guy kind of beach itself there. Oh, forgot to deselect it. And then we'll have this Shard Corvette over here actually go up here and capture this airbase. So that'll speed things up a little bit. They are moving quite slowly still, but what can you do? It doesn't look like this guy's moving at all. I'm curious to see if he's completely damaged to the point where he can't move. Not quite sure what's happening. Controls seem to be locked up. It says it's in hover mode for some reason. There we go. Looks like the landing craft got deployed out of one of these carriers. I believe it's the Annex class. It's pretty cool. And from here on out, there's not many enemies that will actually be able to engage us anymore. We've kind of eliminated every threat off of the airbase, or out of the question, so we'll go ahead and send some the carrier over there. I'm gonna go ahead and throttle down.
Raise gear.
Looks like we barely just landed. Go ahead and do a U-turn and then we'll get out. From this point on, it is kind of just a waiting game, waiting for these vehicles to get close enough to start capturing some things. Okay, looks like we're about to capture this airfield up here, which will make things go pretty quickly. Once we capture this, we'll get in a chicane, not a chicane, an ibis or a tarantula, and then go capture this last airbase. Yep, there we go. That was just captured. No hangars, unfortunately. There we go. Go ahead and get in the tarantula. And we'll do an APC, I believe is probably the better one. Donate to the ground forces, because why not? We can even contribute some funds at this point. We have about almost $2 billion worth of funds, so I don't think the funds actually do anything from what I can tell, but seems to be some kind of setting that's making me go into hover mode. Okay.
Stall.
Front left engine failure. Front right engine failure. Rear right engine failure. Rear left engine failure.
Not quite sure what happened there. I thought I clicked the correct settings, but it doesn't look like it. No worries. So from here on out, you can honestly just leave the video. It's pretty boring. We're just gonna have to go capture these air bases. There's not much we can do to expedite it at all. It just is the way the game's designed, and unfortunately terminal controls like that where it does take a very, very long time to finish the actual phase, but I'm going to finish the entire mission. From here, we've destroyed all the enemy aircraft hangars, so they will not be able to do anything about it anymore. Not quite sure if this needs adjustment in terms of the actual map being able to say like, hey, you completed the mission. Like, I feel like if you eliminated everyone from the map, then it should be just like you just win by default. But oh well, not much we can do about it right now. We'll just have to keep playing. So you're welcome to leave the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you would like. And in the comments, make sure to put any kind of suggestions or what you'd like me to see. I have been thinking about doing a series where I complete an entire game with one aircraft. I'm just not quite sure, or with each of the aircrafts. I just don't think it would go that well, and it would be hard for the higher tier aircrafts because then I'd have to use one to get to the other. But we can definitely see about that and make some rules and adjustments, which would be cool. It would be a bit boring though, just to see me play the exact same aircraft all day long. So that's the only thing I was also thinking about. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and yeah. We'll complete this. I'll let the video go on, and I'll say some things here and there, but that's pretty much the end of the video at this point. So. Oh, looks like there's still some enemies over here. Not much can do about that. We'll go ahead and select this. Go ahead and dray out. Looks like I didn't realize there was still gonna be stuff. The Stark Reach and everything else is gonna destroy it pretty much immediately, so. Bit unfortunate that's the way we kind of went out, but not much we can do about it now. Like the guided shells are gonna absolutely just demolish that. Alright. Unfortunately we can't capture airfields just by ourselves, so we'll have to wait until these guys get in position. We'll go ahead and try to capture this airfield once more. Looks like we already dropped the APC on accident, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. But yeah, this is generally one of the things to keep in mind, that it does take a while. This mission does, it's just the nature of the mission that makes it take a very, very long time when it really shouldn't take that long. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to really speed this process up. If you don't eliminate the enemies, it's hard to capture the air bases, and then if you don't capture the air bases, then, you know, you don't complete the mission, so. Very beautiful aircraft though, I will say. It does kind of look a little ugly, but it's okay. I'm not a fan of the front part. It kind of looks a little weird, the way the two windows and that kind of stuff show up. Alright, well, at least the payload now. We're at a good point. We'll be able to land safely. Capture the airbase. Well, looks like we're about to... One of them is about to destroy the thing. Oh well. We're gonna J out here. Fire pilots. Looks like we did capture another airbase, so that's good. And then all that we have to do is capture this last one. Curious if we can select one of these APCs and have them. Looks like they're gonna take the long way. Oh, yeah, it looks like one of them is already going that direction anyway, so. From here, I think the shortest route is actually over from this airbase. Take another tarantula. Looks like I've just been flying in the wrong direction.
Stall.
coming up on this airbase. We're just gonna drop our payload and hopefully that'll capture it pretty quickly. We're about 100 meters off the ground, which should be enough room. I might pull up at the last second. I think that's what I'll do. Kind of give us a bit more room. There we go. So that should be able to go ahead and capture that. Looks like we won. There we go. That was terminal control. It's a pretty long mission. I think the biggest issue is that just towards the end, once you've defeated the entire enemies, it's really difficult to kind of stay awake for the rest of it. But if you stayed this long, feel free to like and subscribe. I don't know why you would stay this long if you didn't like enjoy my content, but yeah, in that case, have a great day and have a good rest of your week.